Okay, press pause and have a look at some of the vocabulary that I'll use in this video. Between the usually positive nature of the Chinese newspaper, the Xinhua News Agency page, and the oft-times negative atmosphere of some of the Western newspapers, the ones in English. So let's have a look at what we see when we first go onto the page there. As always, we see the big man himself, the President of China. He's doing something. As usual, the Chinese president forges relationships. He builds ties. He greets children. He's met by important people. You can really use a lot of the same collocations to describe the first thing you see in the Chinese news. And it's a positive association. The actions are positive. I just think today there was some very sad news coming out of France. And it is an opportunity to have a look at how this news is reported. Here we are in England, which is the Guardian newspaper. It's quite close to France. And you can see the negativity, you can see bullet holes, you can see police people, you can see army people, images that are highly negative to reflect what is a highly negative news event, of course. The language matches the picture: terrorist, extremist, claims attack, found on gunmen, search for survivors. It's all incredibly sad. It's tragic news. Okay, that's England, and it's quite close to France. Let's jump over to, let's say, New York. Let's have a look at the New York Times. And there it is again. It's splashed all over the front page. The first thing you see, Hollande blames ISIS for attacks. So, once again, the creation of negativity. Death toll rises to 127. Unbelievable amount, really, for a terrorist attack. Act of war. An incredible amount of negativity. Once again, an incredibly negative piece of news. But certainly dominating the front page of the New York Times and for the Guardian. What about Sydney? We've never really suffered a tremendous terrorist attack in Sydney. It'll be interesting to draw a comparison. And here we have it. Once again, the same news, not quite as visible as in the New York Times or the Guardian, but you've got the negativity. Terrorist was extremist, premeditated attacks, militant Islamists. Down here, woman's miraculous escape. That's a little bit more positive. It's about someone surviving. But then you see here, graphic content warning, shocking footage, shows people tripping over bodies. Really unpleasant. We're not going to look at that. And then some information here, a video. What we know so far, at least 120 people are dead. So once again, the really bad statistics coming out of this attack. Sydney, not that close. China, Beijing, I think that's as close as it is to Paris. China has suffered from terrorist attacks, and probably more so than Australia has. But it's quite noticeable in China. They tend to focus on the positivity. So here it is. Here's a little bit of negativity. You can see it's the fourth picture news. But if we look at the third picture news, pray for France. It's about the exact same item of news, a horrendous terrorist attack. But the overall feeling being generated is one of positivity. Showing there the tower, people coming together to commemorate and remember those who were unfortunately killed. Signs of unity, famous French monuments. So they're certainly covering the negative event, but in a much more positive way. There you have men from the military, but more factual information, rather than trying to, I suppose, add to the terror by instilling large amounts of fear in the people reading these newspapers.